Thank you for joining today's session. We will be getting started shortly. We do have a lot of folks signed up for today's session, and we want to give everyone a moment to log on and get connected so that we can dive into today's session. I do want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm Jasmine Garrett here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session is an informational overview of the CSIT Clean Tech Seed Grant Program Round 4. A quick housekeeping note, we do suspect that many questions will be answered in today's presentation. However, you are able to write in questions at any point during today's presentation using Zoom's Q&A feature. It is one of your Zoom command options and will allow us to make sure we're able to get back to you and let others see these questions and answers as well. Today's session is being recorded and will be posted on our NJEDA and YouTube pages. The slides and other resources will also be available in the next few days. Now to get us started with the presentation, I will shift things over to NJEDA's Project Officer of CSIT, Maku Etta. Maku?
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And again, thank you for joining and attending today's webinar. My name is Maku Etta with the New Jersey Commission on Science, Innovation, and Technology. I'm joined by our Executive Director, Judith Sheft, and CSIT colleague, Jackie Liu. We first want to start by saying, the funding for the Round 4 Clean Tech Seed Grant is really made possible through support from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. Thank you to BPU for their continued support of New Jersey's startup economy. Today, we'll be providing an overview of the grant program. We'll provide an overview of the state certifications that we accept for this program. We'll also walk through a brief demonstration of the application portal as we are using a new application portal, and then we'll save some time for any questions and answers at the end. So just to kick things off, the Clean Tech Seed Grant Program, the goal of the program is to really help New Jersey-based early stage clean tech and clean energy companies accelerate development and innovation of clean technologies to transform new discoveries from the research stage into commercially viable technologies, leading, of course, to industry and investor interest. There are, within the clean energy sector, there are targeted industries that we accept proposals about. So if you're doing work in green buildings, transportation, waste processing, water and agriculture, energy efficiency, energy generation, energy distribution and storage, or chemical advanced materials, you are eligible to submit a proposal. The application will require to select at least one of these areas in which your project falls into. Another eligibility requirement is that we focus on projects that are within the TRL level score of between 2 and 7. And what that really means on this slide is that we're looking at projects that are past the proof of concept stage. You are doing direct research and development on either developing the prototype for the innovation, you're testing, validating your technology, or you are fleshing out, of course, your proof of concept into a prototype. So you can't be, if you're too early, still in the proof of concept stage, you won't be eligible. But if you are too far along in TRL levels 8 or 9, where you are ready, have a prototype and it's already in the market or about to go into the market, you might be too far along for this grant. Again, we focus on R&D activities specifically. So the grant has a project duration of 12 months, and companies can apply for a maximum of $75,000. Now, this doesn't mean that your total budget for the project is $75,000, but when you submit your proposal, your budget should indicate what the $75,000 for this particular grant will support. If you're awarded, we process the disbursements in two parts. 80% for the, sorry about that, 80% for the initial project once your application is accepted and your grant agreement is signed. And then once the project concludes, we provide the final 20% once you've submitted all of your final documents. A portion of your budget can be used for marketing. 30% roughly can be used for marketing, a small amount of customer discovery, IP patent prosecution, or any licensing expenses. Be very mindful that only 30% of the budget can be used for these items. The rest of the budget should clearly show some of the cost for all of the R&D activities. That could be include salaries, purchasing of material that you may need, and even hiring other external research partners. So some of the ineligible expenses, and these again are very, very important. Things like, direct services to individuals and organizations. This is not a grant to provide direct services. This is an R&D grant, research and development grant. Manufacturing of products, real estate expenses is very important. If you are, we do not accept budgets where we see cost for rental space. If you are housed at a core facility or research lab, your grant cannot support the rental cost of that space. Or if your project requires the purchasing of property in any way, our grant does not support real estate cost. Any direct um, services in terms of direct services, we obviously do not provide. Project, we do not also support. So please be very, very mindful of the ineligible expenses. And of course, activities that occur in regards to the project prior to the start of the grant, the signing and the execution of the grant agreement. So prior costs, we do not, you cannot bill for if awarded the grant. So these are going to be the eligibility requirements that the company must abide by before you apply. So be very mindful that your company falls within these eligibility requirements to even be eligible for this grant. And you must maintain, really this eligibility throughout the application review process. So if anything changes within the months that we review the application or approve the application, if anything changes, that may affect your eligibility. You must be authorized and in good standings to conduct business in New Jersey. You will need to show this by having a current New Jersey tax clearance stating CSIT as the agency on that tax clearance. This is a document that's retrieved through the Office of Taxation. If you are a registered company in New Jersey, you should be able to quickly apply for a tax clearance through the Business Premier online site and be able to retrieve one. So we'll be asking for current tax clearance. You must have at least a minimum of one full-time worker. This is someone working 35 hours a week or more. And you just, again, paid or unpaid, but there must be at least a minimum of one full-time worker. No more than 50 full-time equivalent workers within the company. 50% or more of the cumulative work of all workers, founders, contractors must be in New Jersey. This is extremely important. If you are working with several consultants on your team and they are outside of the state, and you have one full-time employee in the state of New Jersey, those consultants and contractors outside may outweigh your one full-time person. So please be mindful. This is cumulative hours. So just be mindful again of the structure of those within the company. You must have less or equal to 5 million in prior calendar year revenue. This does not include grants. So if you received any federal grants, we do not count that as sales revenue. And of course, I talked earlier about being between the TRL level score of 2 and 7. For past awardees, you will be ineligible if you currently have two or more active CSIT R&D seed or demonstration grants. So if you have a clean tech seed grant and you were a part of round 3, and you also have a clean tech demonstration grant that you were awarded in round 1 or you were just awarded in round 2, you will be ineligible because there'll be active seed grants. Now, if one of your grants is wrapping up and you've submitted the final reports and we've done the reimbursements, then you are okay. But if you have active seed or demonstration grants, two or more, you unfortunately are ineligible to apply for this third seed grant. These are some of the documents you're going to see throughout the application that um, we require to complete your application. Of course, we'll need a full online application. We're using a new portal. I'll walk through that in a moment. We'll be asking for a budget and milestone document. This is where you will itemize the $75,000 and you will provide quarterly milestones that for the project. You will upload the TRL document. There's a TRL calculator within the application. We'll require employee information. This is employee verification information for everyone that's employed within the company. So this could be a W-2, a 1099, an offer letter, a shareholders agreement, or a consultant contract, but every employee of the company must have some type of verification. We'll be requiring recent internal payroll. If you do not currently use a payroll process or have a kind of official payroll, you can submit a letter on company letterhead stating that your company does not process a payroll, and we will accept that as well. Most recent company tax filings, a current tax clearance, as I mentioned. If applicable, you'll be submitting also state certifications, either women, minority, veteran, or LGBTQ plus state certifications. We have a signed application certification, just certifying that everything in the application is was answered correctly and honestly. And then we also have a legal debarment questionnaire within the application. So if you don't submit these documents at the time of the application, that is okay. We will review the application and send you back a resubmission letter stating what you need to submit to us. And you'll be given roughly 10 business days to submit those missing documents. So, how is this application scored? We have 5 core categories that we score the application by: the strength of the innovation that you're proposing, your implementation plan, which really comes out in the milestone and the budget document that you're submitting. They must align. The milestones must be clearly shown in terms of some of the budgetary needs and vice versa. We look at the strength of your team, whether there's enough individuals to carry out the project and whether they have the technical expertise to carry out the proposed projects. Economic and broader impact. This is a clean tech seed grant. We are looking to support companies that are really addressing a variety of clean energy challenges. So we'll be looking to see what is the community impact, whether it's environmental impact or health impact of your technology. Market opportunity and strategy. This is your go-to-market plan. Is there a target? Is there a target market for your technology? Do you have Are you aligned with some of the some of the marketing avenues in terms of getting your product to the market? So we have a few questions on the application around what is your overall market strategy. To be applicant must score a minimum of 70 points on the scoring criteria to be recommended for an award or even assign the bonus points. So, of the 100, you must receive at least a minimum of 70 points to be recommended for an award. And these are the bonus points. If you are a company using technology initially developed at a New Jersey university, and you have a executed license agreement with such university, there's you and your score, you received a minimum of the 70 scores, you receive an additional 15 points. For women, minority, veteran, and LGBTQ plus owned businesses, if you have the state certification, you'll receive an additional 10 points for each of these um, certifications category areas. A primary place of business is located in an opportunity zone or a government restricted municipality. You receive an additional 5 points. And if you have not previously received a clean tech grant or voucher, if you are a new applicant and you've never received a grant before from us, you receive an additional 10 points. Again, this is based off of having to meet the 70-point minimum. And there is a separate deadline for submitting these documents past the initial deadline of the application. So we give you a little bit more time to submit these documents if you are interested in receiving any of the bonus points. And we'll talk about the timeline in a moment. Some of the terms and conditions of we are this is non-dilutive. Um, this is a non-dilutive grant, but while we do not take equity of your company, we do require some economic impact data. This really helps us track the impact of our programs over time. So all grant awardees must submit an economic impact report upon the completion of the project, and then after for 3 years after the completion of the project. Again, these are questions as, you know, has your staff grown? Has your infrastructure grown? Has your has your capital grown in terms of investments? So again, we're really looking to kind of track the overall growth of the company. You also, from the effective date of the grant agreement, not when the project ends, but from the effective date of the grant agreement, um, if awarded, you must make sure you have 50% of the work of your company. 50% of the work must stay in New Jersey. And so, again, please be mindful of this requirement because I know, again, a lot of companies, they grow and we want them to grow. And sometimes opportunities present themselves in other neighboring states. But as you grow, if 50% or more of the work goes outside of New Jersey, then you run the risk of maybe going into default of this grant if awarded. So please be mindful of that. And then lastly, you know, we have really amazing, we always want to learn and hear from all of our awardees. And so we have opportunities for panel discussions at various conferences that we may call you on to participate and speak at. So the application portal will open Monday, June 2nd at 9 a.m. till Monday, July 11th at 5, and close Monday, July 11th at 5 p.m. So do not wait. I cannot implore you enough. Do not wait till the last minute to do this application. The system will close at 5 p.m. and we cannot reopen the system at all. If you have any questions, our email is csitcleantech at njcsit.gov. And all of the information or questions and answers on this webinar will be posted on our FAQ document which will be also posted on our website. And our new website is www.njcsit.gov. It's very important that you find us on the correct website. This is njcsit.gov, www.njcsit.gov. But this all of the information and even the webinar slides and the webinar video will be posted online. There's also this electronic signature. Applicants may provide an electronic application signature by uploading a signed PDF. However, if the applicant prefers not to provide an electronic signature, the applicant may follow the instructions on the notice of funding and online portal to provide an electronic signature. So again, you have the option of providing an electronic signature or just uploading and signing off on the application. I talked a little bit about missing documents. Again, if you submit an application and you were not able to submit all of the required documents, as I talked about earlier, we'll review the application and you'll have 10 business days to submit those missing documents. You'll receive an email letter, resubmission letter from us asking you to submit those missing documents. Any application that does not include all of the documents specified or contain the documents that have not been completed will be considered incomplete and will not be evaluated. So please be very mindful of your resubmission deadline. If we do not receive those missing documents, then your application will be considered incomplete and not reviewed. This is the program timeline. Today is our webinar. The notice of funding will be on our website, again, www.njcsit.gov. You'll be able to see the notice of funding on our website on the 23rd. June 2nd, the application portal opens also on our website. July 11th, the application portal closes at 5 p.m. And then August 1st is when the tax clearance and those bonus documents are due. So again, you get a little bit more time to submit those bonus documents, but it's very, very important to submit the application. You have to submit the application on time to even start this process. We hope to make award announcements by the fourth quarter of this year, and we'll be keeping all of the applicants posted on that. For those that are not familiar with our state certifications, you can apply for any of them on this link here. And if you have any questions, our NJEDA colleague, Jermaine Farms, will be able to assist you from the Diversity and Business Development team on any of that. But the link is on the slide and the website is pretty straightforward to apply for any of our state certifications. And to my knowledge, these certifications do not come with a cost. But again, you can reach out to Jermaine if you have any questions. So just a quick walkthrough of the portal. We do have a new application portal for those that have applied in the past. We also have a new website. So this is a screenshot of where you would find the program. The Clean Tech Seed Grant Program is under Grant Programs on our website. Again, njcsit.gov is the website name. You just click on the Seed Grant Program Round 4, and it will take you to the program page. This is where you'll be able to find the notice of funding. You'll be able to find our board memo and spec sheet, this webinar presentation, the webinar slides will be posted, and all of the information you need. When the application launches, you will see an Apply Here button right above this milestone and budget templates button. It'll be the first button, and you'll be able to click on it to start the application process. And then it'll bring you to this online application center portal. We are not NJEDA. This is not an NJEDA program. So be very mindful that you do not click on the NJEDA programs tabs. This is a CSIT program. So you will click on the CSIT button below, and then it will bring you to active CSIT grant applications. Right now, the only one active on this portal is the Clean Tech Seed Grant Round 4. So you would click on that button, then you will create a new application. So you're creating a new application. If you have an existing application, you might see your existing, you should be, this screen should show you your existing application that you can continue. But if you're starting from, if you're just starting, you'll be clicking on Create the Clean Tech R&D Seed Grant program. And then you'll just be asked to create a username and password and log right in. Please remember that username and password so you can log back in. You'll be able to save the work that you're doing and continue the application at any point. But if you're having any challenges, please email us at csitcleantech@njcsit.gov with any questions, and we can share your inquiries, any technical difficulties with our IT department to help you retrieve any of your saved applications. We are extremely excited to be able to offer this opportunity again through the generous partnership with the Board of Public Utilities, and we look forward to receiving your applications. So I'll stop there. And Judith, I don't know if we have
Sure.
any
Yes,
questions.
we have some questions. And before I get to the questions, I'd like to reiterate on a couple of points that Maku made. First, because we are going to be communicating with you via email, please make sure that CSIT, our emails are not going to your spam folders. Please make sure that that you allow emails to come in from njcsit.gov. Otherwise, you may not see notifications that you're getting from us. Secondly, I cannot implore you enough. Please read the notice of funding. Please read the FAQs. Someone had asked a question about whether or not you're going to be able to see kind of the full application before you start filling it out. And Maku, I believe we are going to have that draft application will be one of the other elements up on our webpage, so you can get a sense as to what are the questions that I need to be answering to fill out the application. Do not rush through it. You're going to have plenty of time from June 2nd to July 11th to really put in a good, complete application so that you can describe the work that you're doing, how important the problem is, why your team is the best to solve it, and what economic impact you're going to have by developing this particular piece of technology. Another question that was asked is how many awards do we anticipate that we are going to be making? We currently have funding to provide up to 10 grant awards as part of the current budget that we have from CSIT. So it is important to know that given the number of people who are currently on this webinar, we anticipate that we are probably going to get more than 10 applications for the program. So it's important that you do a good job filling out your application, and that in addition, you look at those bonus points, and if those bonus points could apply for your business, you take the time to get those certifications so that that can move you up and down in the ranking criteria. While the tax clearance and bonus points are not due until, I believe, August 1st, you can submit any of that information earlier. You don't have to wait till the last minute. And some of the systems, particularly if you do not have a tax clearance, That can potentially be a little bit challenging at times for people. So do not wait till the end to try to get that so that you end up missing the ability to apply for the program. Another question that was asked is, how do you envision CSIT helping or adding value to a company that's on the higher end of a TRL when their project size exceeds $75,000? This particular grant program is limited to $75,000 per project. In the past, we have had some other opportunities that were up to $250,000. Again, budgets depending and relationships with the Board of Public Utility. We may again in the future have a larger grant opportunity that would be for more than $75,000. But this particular project that we're talking about is $75,000 for research and development activity. Another question that was asked is, are fringe benefits an eligible expense? And the answer is yes. They can be included, when you're doing, for example, your salary expenses and so forth. Another question that was asked is, someone says, I received a Clean Tech Seed grant in round 2 and round 3. Can we apply for round 4? The answer is yes. If your round 2 has been submitted and accepted and it's totally closed out, then you would only have one active grant at the time of the submission. Another question is, what grants are you announcing between now and the end of first quarter 2026? I want to tell you about the programs that we currently have open. In addition to this Clean Tech Seed Grant program, round 4, we have 2 rolling programs that you can apply for in addition to the Clean Tech Seed Grant round 4 program. We have a Clean Tech and a Catalyst R&D voucher program. The voucher provides up to $40,000 to access specialized equipment at a New Jersey university. You can do a voucher as well as the Clean Tech Seed Grant. We look at those applications on a rolling basis, so you can start that application at any point in time. The other grant that is currently open is a SBIR STTR Direct Financial Assistance Grant. So if your company has received a federal either phase 1 SBIR or STTR within the last 2 years, and you've not received 5 or more SBIR grants, you can apply for $25,000 direct financial assistance. If you finished a phase 1 SBIR grant and you've applied for phase 2 and you have not yet heard about your phase 2 grant, you can apply for a $50,000 bridge grant. And that information is also on our website. Again, we do not anticipate any, at the moment, we do not anticipate any other grant opening between now and quarter 1 of 2026. Another question says, our company was registered in New Jersey, but we haven't filed any tax returns yet. How do we submit tax information? You could put information on your company letterhead indicating that, and then you'll have to look at what's required from New Jersey Treasury to get the tax clearance documentation. That's why we encourage you to, like even right now today, if you haven't started looking for your tax clearance, go onto that website, see what information you're going to need. Someone else says, we're entering into negotiations for licensing technology from a university, but it might not be completed. Is there something we can submit for that? The answer is we need the completed negotiated license with the university to be eligible for the bonus points. Maybe by letting the university know that it's important to get those bonus points, maybe that will help speed up the process. Another question says, can a company submit more than one project application? If so, can a company be awarded more than one project grant? The answer is no. You can submit for one project. Do not submit multiple applications. Unfortunately, we don't have sufficient funding to give a company more than one application. So please take a look at what you're doing and try to pick the best one. As a New Jersey company, what are the benefits of working with the Commission on Science, Innovation, and Technology outside of money? What other perks do we receive? Well, we like to believe that by working with the Commission, we can also help make connections for you, not only to grant opportunities and resources on the New Jersey Economic Development EDA side, since they have a number of programs that can be beneficial for you. We also manage a website called Research with New Jersey that can help connect you to resources at our academic institutions that can be valuable for you to help get additional information. We're always willing to talk to companies about where they're going with their development, and if potentially there's problems or issues where we might be able to help you, we're willing to try to see if that can help. Another question is, within the documentation that has to be submitted, how do we communicate our economic impact and innovation? There's going to be questions in the application that will ask you about your innovation, will ask you specifically about your economic impact, jobs potentially being created, will ask you about greenhouse gas emission mitigation and so forth. Another question is, will you fund a project that has already received a grant from another funding body? Okay, we don't want to fund the same work twice. So if you've gotten funded by, let's say, U.S. Department of Energy under an SBIR grant to do a particular scope of work, we're not going to pay to have you do the exact same definition of what you did with the Department of Energy. However, we recognize that you might have gotten funded to do this amount of work, and now with the $75,000, you're going to extend what you're doing. And Maku, I believe we have a question in the application that asks how this particular project builds off of other work that may have been funded to receive.
Yeah, and I can't stress, yeah, and that's a really important point to make. If you are currently, again, we know this is not a lot of money you're working on. Um, these are larger projects that you're working on. If there is other funding sources that is supporting the larger project, we would like to know that, even if it's our funding source. So if this is an extension of around 3 Clean Tech Seed Grant projects that you're wrapping up, we would like to know that. So yeah, be mindful of that question in the application, and try and be as thorough as possible.
So I think those
it?
are all of the questions that I'm currently seeing in the Q&A area. Again, we are absolutely, looking forward to receiving your applications. Obviously, if you run into any issues, this is a new portal. There should hopefully not be any challenges with it. We've tested it out ourselves, but if you do run into any problems, please let us know. Also, to stress what Maku said, the applications are going to close at 5 o'clock, July 11th, when the computer in Trenton thinks it's 5 o'clock, July 11th. So please do not wait till the last second to submit your applications. Give yourself a day just to make sure that there's not a hiccup, a problem, a challenge with your, with your internet in order to get your applications in on time.
Yeah, and I don't know if this question didn't come up, but there are word limits to some of the questions. So again, there's going to be a sample application on the website that you can take a look at. But so if you want to get ahead on kind of writing out what the proposal would be, just be mindful of those word limits as well. Be very specific to your answers. We do have subject matter experts and internal scorers that will be reviewing these applications. So be very clear, be very specific. Do not use too much jargon. Just really get to the nitty gritty of what the innovation is about, who is looking to support, and the strength of the innovation as much as possible. So you provide a strong proposal to us.
Hey, Maku, someone had also asked how many grants in the Clean Tech Seed Grant have we awarded in the past? I believe in round 3, wasn't it
That was
15?
15.
15 applications.
Yeah, and I think we were at about 45 in the first 3 rounds,
Right.
between 40 and 45 in the first 3 rounds. Yep. And that's just a clean tech seed grant, not counting the demonstration grants, which we've done 2 rounds of those as well. That's about 25 of those. But yeah. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining the webinar. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us.
Let me see. Is there one
Oh,
more
you see another?
question?
Okay.
Okay, so someone said, was that roughly 15 per year?
Rough,
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah,
approximately.
approximately 15 per year. Mhm.
Again, we really have been appreciative of the funding from the Board of Public Utility that allows us to support this particular, particular program.
Okay,
All right. Thanks,
thank you.
everyone. We look forward to receiving your applications. And again, if you have any questions, please email csitcleantech@njcsit.gov.